Sorry. Hi. Hello, hello. How are you? Happy Thursday. Thought I would jump on here today and paint my winter art kit with you. So for my winter art kit, I am offering this snowman head over here. So it's big. You can see it's a big piece. I think it's about 20 inches. Let's see. It is 20 inches from top to bottom. So it's a big piece. So this is our winter art kit. It includes 4 colors of paint, 2 paintbrushes, the wood blank, a stencil, which I'm going to show you how to use, and a stencil sponge for you to put your paint on the stencil. That didn't make sense. Hopefully you understood what I was trying to say. So anyway, you get all of that, and they're only $15, and they are available for shipping. We're going to test this out, shipping and local pickup. So if you're interested, send me a message, let me know, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's great for kids and adults. So anybody who wants to have something to do to de-stress a little bit, this is a great thing to do. So we're going to paint him, and he's super cute, and when you get done with him, you could put a string on the back and hang him on the door, or set him up on your mantle, or, I mean, there's a lot of options, but it's just kind of a fun, I like painting because it relaxes me and kind of de-stresses, and I know we all could use a little de-stressing in our lives, right? So we're going to start by painting the snowman head part. It's just basically, that's all a big head, right? But he's wearing a hat. So we're going to paint his face first. So I'm going to give him a good coat of white paint. That white is almost empty. That white is almost empty. Jeez Louise, I might have should have bought some more white paint at Michael's last night. Well, my whites are running out. We're going to flip those puppies upside down over there. I guess I'm going to use this apple barrel. Not my favorite, but that's okay. White always takes a couple coats anyway, so we'll start with this. So as you pop on, say hi. Let me know how you're doing, how your Thursday's going. Your footsteps upstairs. I think the husband might be home from work. So we're just going to give this a good coat of white, and I am right now kind of going in all kinds of directions, but I do need to be a little more careful and make sure I'm kind of going in one direction so I don't have all these crazy lines on the snowman head. So he's got a band of his hat kind of up here somewhere, so we'll just kind of go across. We'll fix that up here in a bit. So it's Thursday. We've almost made it through the week. First real week in 2021. I don't know about you, but it's been a doozy around here. I had my 4th grader at home all week. Yay! Doing e-learning. So that's been fun. And then freshmen got to go back to school this week, so that was something to be thankful for sure. I'm hoping that the 4th grader gets to go back next week. We'll see. That is the plan as of right now. I have not heard anything different from the school, so. Okay, I think for the hat, I'm debating. I wanted to do green. I kind of wanted to do pink. I don't really know. I think I'm going to go with pink. So we're going to do a pink hat. Maybe I'll do the band and the pom-pom green. I want to make sure he doesn't look Christmassy at all. I want him to be very wintry, very not Christmassy. So we'll go ahead while that white is drying, and we're going to paint the middle of our hat. So I'm going to make it pink. When you choose, if you want to get an art kit and you choose your art kit, you can let me know if you want specific colors for your hat, and I can make sure you get those. Pink or blue or whatever. And like I said, I mean, this is really a great piece for kids because it's simple. There's not a lot to it, but it's fun. So, you know, adults can paint too. We could all use a little painting therapy. So put some of this pink on here. All right. So getting this pink on here. Making sure I hit the edges of my hat, as well as the middle. A little more pink. So these will be available for a little while. If you want to place an order, you can just let me know. We can get that cut out for you so you can get that painted. I have been working today on some Valentine's Day designs, so that'll be fun. In between e-learning. All right. Make sure I got all my edges here. And around that edge. All right, so that's good. The white's still pretty damp. I think we'll hit the pom-pom and the band of the hat, and I want to use this bright green I got. Haven't used it yet for anything. I want to see what it looks like. So it's called Sour Apple. All right. Ooh, I like that. All right. So let's do our pom-pom, the top of his hat. Yeah, that's a nice color. Nice and bright. Paint my edges as I go around. All right, across the top. So for those of you who are just joining, I am painting a snowman head. He's wearing a hat, snowman with a hat. This is actually available as my winter art kit this month. So with the winter art kit, you get the wood blank that I cut out for you. You get 4 colors of paint, 2 paintbrushes, a stencil, which I'm going to show you how to use here in a minute, for your snowman's face, and a sponge to use for your stencil. So, and it's only $15, so it's a good deal. All right. I try to offer those art kits each month, kind of something different. Well, sometimes they're more, last month was definitely geared more for kids, but sometimes they're more universal and anybody can paint. So I'm going to put a little bit of fluff on our hat here so it doesn't look so boring. Straight across. Maybe that wasn't the husband. Maybe that was the oldest kid. All right. Since I paint in the basement a lot, I get used to hearing footprints upstairs, and I kind of can tell whose footsteps are whose. People come across the floors. I like that green. It's a very pretty green. It's bright, cheery. Let me know how your week's been. Have a good week. Get back in the swing of things. It's hard to get back to a routine when you're still, there is no routine to be had. you know, when you're still doing e-learning or whatever, I find it hard to get back into a routine because there's nothing to really have a routine with. I mean, there is kind of, but I guess more than when you're on a break, but it's still just kind of a free-for-all, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right, I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. I'm going to try to touch it up a little bit more because I don't really want to have to, I may have to put another coat on this green. All right. Okay, I think our white is dry, so we're going to put another coat of white on here. Let's see if I can get some of this folk art white out. Might be enough. All right. We'll get our big brush back out. All right, I'll just go back and forth across this and get this white back on here. Oh, I got a little white on my green. That's all right. I'll touch that up. All right. Just kind of being careful up here at my fringe to not hit the green. Just kind of make sure that this white has a good coat. We are going to put a big face right here, so I'm not terribly worried about like super amazing coverage. It's okay if it's not perfect. All right, I'm gonna hit this right through here again. Fluffies. Make sure that's good and covered. Perfect. All right. Kind of drag that all the way across so I don't have any lines there. And we'll touch up here in the pink again. Maybe that's still pretty wet. I better leave that alone. Better not do that. All right, let's oh, I know what I should have done. I'm trying to find the brush. I feel like I'm all over the place today. All right, I am gonna put more paint on that pom-pom up there while this white is drying here. There we go. That definitely needed a second coat. That looks so much better. All right, I want to make sure that we are good and dry down here because we're going to put our stencil on. I'm going to show you how to use that. So I'm going to take the blow dryer and just run it over it real quick. Give me just a second. We're going to try not to blow a fuse. I'm kind of nervous. I should go turn the heater off. Okay. I really feel like I'm pushing my luck here. I usually cannot run a blow dryer and a little heater at the same time because I'm definitely going to blow a fuse. I don't really want to have to run over and turn the heater off. So let's just fan this a little bit. Okay, so my stencil looks like this. So it is the snowman's face. I cut it out on my Cricut. Grab a pair of scissors. I'm just going to kind of cut around this a little bit. freehand this on here if you wanted, but I feel like this is just a little bit, I don't know, something different, you know? Still see a little wetness in there. That should be good. Okay, so the stencil we are just going to take and position on our snowman. So probably right about there. I'm just gonna lay him down and pull the paper off gently as I do that. It kind of stuck to itself. It's okay. There we go. I'm just gonna kind of press him down. Okay, so when you use a stencil, you want to use a sponge or a stencil brush to put your paint on, and you want to use very, very tiny bits of paint. Okay, if you use too much paint, it's going to bleed underneath, and when you pull your stencil up, it's not going to look great. Okay, that's not a big deal. Like, if that happens, you just fix it and go on. But we'd want to try to do it right the first time, so we're going to attempt this. I'm going to get just a little pinky color for his cheeks. And when you do your stencil, so when you get your art kit, you're going to get a sponge. It's just a makeup sponge. And I'm just going to take a little piece of it, like this. I'm going to dip it into my paint. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to offload it. So you're going to dip it a little bit on your plate to get a lot of that paint off, because you don't want your sponge to be soaked in paint. Okay, tiny little bit of paint. And we're just going to pounce. I'm going to go around the edges of my stencil first. Every time I dip, I'm going to dip in a drier spot on my plate so that I don't end up with my sponge soaking wet with paint. I'm just going to go around the edges on his cheeks. Like this. Sorry, that noise was driving me crazy. All right, just like this, all the way around. Perfect. Okay, then we're going to do this cheek over here. So dip into the paint, dip off onto a dry spot. That's called offloading. And it just helps make sure that you don't have too much paint on your sponge so that it's seeping underneath your stencil. And I'm not rubbing, I'm pouncing. If I rub, I'm going to get paint underneath my stencil. Okay, and it may still not be perfect, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm going to do his nose. We're going to do that orange. Palette's on here. Let's see. Let's find an orange. Orange. Gonna use jack-o'-lantern orange. I don't need a ton of paint for this. Just a little bit. Cut another little piece of my sponge. Dip in the orange. Dip in a dry spot. Up and down on my painting. And you can build your color to be what you want it to be as you're going, but start with a lighter coat and then put more. You don't want to put all your paint on at one time. Okay. All right, just like that. Like that. That looks good. Okay, now our eyeballs. Black. The hardest thing I think about stencils is it looks like a hot mess. until you pull the stencil up. And so I get really I start to get really nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, is it working? Is it not working? And you just don't know until you pull it all up. All right, eyebrows and eyeballs. Make sure you dip onto a dry spot on your plate every time because you don't want all that excess paint onto your stencil. That's a surefire way to get that paint to bleed underneath your stencil. And I am kind of putting a lighter coat, not a noticeably lighter coat, but a lighter coat on the edges of my stencil because I don't want to be real heavy there or that will cause the paint to go underneath. Okay. So where I'm building it up, I'm making sure I start in the center and kind of work my way out. Okay. All right, and our mouth. All right, I'm going to go up to these cheeks and just kind of use the edge of my sponge, and I'll clean that up a little bit more with a paint pen at the end. We'll make him have a cute little smile. Okay, a moment of truth. Are we ready? I'm going to make sure I don't have any crazy colors on my fingers. I'm just going to peel my stencil straight up. Look at that. I did get a little bit of my white up because it probably wasn't quite all the way dry, but that's okay. We can touch all that up. I love it. It looks great. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and in the meantime, I want to work on my hat up here. So I want to try something a little different on the hat, and I want to put leopard print on it, or cheetah print. So I'm going to use some black and some gold. All right, I'm going to use a filbert tip brush. We're going to start with the center of our cheetah dots, and we're just going to squiggle them on here. I have never really painted cheetah print before today, but I thought, why not? Give it a whirl. So I'm just setting my brush down and just kind of like squiggling it out, trying to make sure that these don't look the same, that they do look different. I made some kind of go off the edge here. Maybe some a little bigger, some a little smaller. They're not polka dots, so we don't want them to look perfect. Okay. Put this one down here, right by the edge. Okay. Now I'm going to take my filbert tip brush, and the filbert tip brush has, it's rounded, like it's a flat round tip. Does that make sense? And I like this because it gives you good control when you're drawing lines and things. Oh, I just dipped that in gold. That's not the color I wanted. Okay, I'm going to dip it in my black. I'm just going to take my black and I'm going to go partially around the edges of my dots. And at first it's just going to look like crazy blobs, but kind of at the end it kind of comes together. I'm just kind of going to make sure that I don't go all the way around, and then if I went around the right side of that one, that I go around the opposite side of this one. Does that make sense? Don't want them to all look the same. So see how that kind of, as you start doing it, it kind of comes together. At first, it's kind of like, this just looks like a hot mess. But the more you add to it, the more it just kind of starts to come together. And the trick with cheetah print or leopard print is the more loosey-goosey you can be, the better off it's going to be. If you try to make it look perfect, it's probably not going to work because cheetahs aren't perfect. Leopards aren't perfect. They're all unique. I'm going to add just a couple of little black squiggles just to kind of fill in a little bit here and there. And then I'm going to take my gold and go back and put some centers on those. There we go. I like that. Let me know what you think. Okay, I'm going to take a smaller brush and touch up where I pulled some of my white paint off with my stencil because I was impatient. So don't do that. Don't be impatient. Let it dry. Or you will pull paint off. I really did need to buy more white paint. This white is getting really empty. Okay. Painted a lot of snowmen and things. So just gonna carefully touch up where this stencil. You really can't tell too much on the camera, but it did pull some paint up. And if I had let that dry a little bit better, it probably wouldn't have done that. Okay. Also see some spots up here. I'm gonna hit closer to the edge of his hat. There's a little gold speckle there. We need to cover that up. All right, let's touch up our hat a little bit more. Give that one more coat of green there. And I do have a little white mixed in. I'm just kind of blending it out. I'm not worrying about it. Kind of making sure that the pink is all covered there at the top and the white down here at the bottom is all covered as well. Okay. Straight across. And that through. Over here. Kind of go up onto that leopard print so it makes it look like it's more part of the hat. Across and making sure my paint lines are all smoothed out. Tend to get a little crazy and I have brush strokes going every direction, so trying to smooth those out a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we need to finish this face up. Trying to figure out where it's at. There we go. I need to finish this up because right now he just has big black circles for eyeballs. It just kind of looks a little crazy. So we're going to take a paintbrush, and I'm going to take a little white, and we're just going to give him some eyes. I'm nervous. There we go. Now he's got little eyeballs. That looks good. And then I'm going to take my paint pen. I'm going to take black. And just kind of give him a little smile here. Put a few little lines on his nose to give it a little depth. Let's take our white paint pen and give him some dimples, and maybe another little. We'll go around his nose a little bit more. Little highlights on his nose. And then we can go around our hat. And around the edges. Not sure if that's still wet. And then around our fringe. I want to put some lines right here, but that's still pretty wet, so I don't want to touch it too much. I'll do it anyway. There we go. Just so it looks like it has some, like, I don't know, dimension. I guess that's the word I want. And there you have it. Snowman with a hat on. So this is our kids art kit, or winter art kit. Anybody can paint it. It's available for $15. And just send me a message if you're interested, and I can ship this one. So if you're interested in having it shipped to you, I'd be happy to send one out to you. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great Thursday, and I will see you around. Bye.